In this video, we're going to talk about a very interesting topic for whoever has Xanthelasma. As you know, people will ask you for thousands of pounds or thousands of dollars if you're in the US or Canada in order to remove them. But fortunately, removing Xanthelasma is much easier than people in cosmetic clinics try to portray. It is still true that removing Xanthelasma using surgical means, lasers and so on, can be expensive. However, there are easier ways to remove them. And we have rediscovered TCA as people started sending us inquiries in order to buy one of our devices for Xanthelasma removal. So we made the Xanthelasmaremoval.com. Initially, as soon as we found about TCA, we sent TCA out in order to remove Xanthelasma. But what we find is TCA is quite difficult to control, and there's a certain degree of regulation of TCA as well, because once again, it's not very easy to control. But what we found then is that it was possible to remove Xanthelasma using glycolic acid and mixed with other ingredients. So glycolic acid is much easier to control than TCA. But in this video, we're going to talk about TCA. There was a very interesting blog on the web up until a year ago, and unfortunately it's out. But fortunately, we managed to save the pictures, which are not online anymore. And the pictures are of Penelope Wilcock. We have her permission to use these pictures. So what we're going to do in this video, we're going to demonstrate how TCA works for Xanthelasma removal. And in this case, Penelope used it at home. Unfortunately, the blog is not there, but we saved the pictures, thank goodness. So, and we have a certain timeline which we're going to show you immediately. So that's the these are the pictures, and we're going to show you one by one. So this is one of the first pictures before TCA was applied, and you can see the Xanthelasma in there is quite evident. Then we're going to close this, and so we're going to magnify it slightly so you can see it better. I'm going to close this and show you another picture there, and this is the picture of the Xanthelasma itself, just the single eye. But then this is another classic picture, which is the picture of the Xanthelasma soon after you applied TCA, and you can see that this is the case because of the frosting, which is typical of TCA. Now, we're going to go and show you this other one. So it's just the same, right about the same as being taken around about the same time, but there's a picture of the full face. And this is the day after. This is quite peculiar that swelling is not noticeable, but what normally happens is with TCA, you get significant swelling of the upper eyelid, but it is not noticeable in this picture. But there's no frosting anymore the day after, and nothing appears to happen to the Xanthelasma. But watch this. This is a few days later. This is exactly what you expect. Say something is starting to happen, and from the bottom, the Xanthelasma seem to be something seems to be happening at the bottom of the Xanthelasma. And then this is, have a look, just okay, the same day, maybe a bit later on, you can see that there is some red marks at the bottom, and something is going on in there. Same day, another picture of the full face in this case. Then a few days later, this is the interesting thing. Now, the area here has become a bit red. The eyelid has become a bit red, but the scabbing process is taking place, and this is very good. Sometimes what we find is that that area becomes a hole during the scabbing process, even using the Xanth remover. But the Xanth remover has got some advantages which we discuss in other videos and other information online. In the 16th, okay, that's exactly what we want to show you. This is the classic hole, which happens after the Xanthelasma is becoming detached. And this is a few days later as the healing takes place of that area. So the new skin has taken place. But as we watch the previous picture here, it's very important that in this particular, if you find yourself in this situation, you don't use any makeup or anything, is because you can get infections and they should be avoided. It's not as if, it's just the end results are not going to be as good if you get an infection. It's better to avoid them. So don't use any makeup. And this is the area as it starts to heal. That's the new skin as we shown earlier on. A day after that picture, the area is still healing. You can see a bit of there, still of skin reforming. And another very interesting thing is that that laxity that you can see on the left eye is not there. So also these peels have a good effect, which is not discussed as much, which is a certain degree of eyelid tightening, which we found on other clients who use our products. This is again the area healing, and on the 28th, I think 2 to 3 weeks after, the area is almost finished to heal, and it is much better to have this than having a normal Xanthelasma. This is another good picture showing you the results. And let's have a look. Yes, and it's also actually a few months later. Let's have a look. This is in March 2014, and this is in February 2015. So there's also, it's kind of difficult to tell where the Xanthelasma was. The authors claim that she could see it. However, we cannot see it from the pictures, and I mean, it's quite easy to tell that it's much better to have this end result than the Xanthelasma. Also, another interesting thing, look at this beautiful eyelid on the right, and this one. There's a tightening effect which is taking place. And over a year after, that's it. You cannot actually tell where the Xanthelasma was. And this is exactly what we wanted to show you. Just a note, according to the blog that was live, the product used was a TCA solution of 50%. This is according to that blog, and we would like to believe it. We have used higher concentrations, but once again, TCA is very effective. The only problem that we found is that its effects are not easy to stop. Sometimes you do need a neutralizer, whereas it's not needed with the Xanth remover. But the good thing about TCA is that it's quite easily available. Also, you can find it online from many sources, and is a good way to get rid of your Xanthelasma. But once again, if you have Xanthelasma and you'd like to have an ad hoc product which can also guarantee to remove your Xanthelasma and get the results that you want, you can buy the Xanth remover. So thank you very much for watching. Should you have any questions, please feel free to get in touch. Thank you for now.